I wanted to ask everyone on here, where are you from and what are you drinking? Ooh. Okay. Got it. Okay, yeah, so just tell me where you are from and what are you drinking, and I am going to wait a couple seconds for everybody to join in. Like I've said in previous virtual happy hours, I am live from Seattle. Pacific Northwest. We are having a gorgeous day today. We've got somebody in the house from Illinois drinking some Zinfandel. Somebody from Scotland drinking some tea. Hi, welcome. Long Island and spicy guava tequila. Wow. California's in the house with some beer. We've got some people in the house from the UK sipping a Elvis Juice IPA. Wow, I wonder what that tastes like. Victoria, BC. Hi, Nadia. Having a martini. San Diego's in the house. It's 2:30. Yes, it is 2:30 here as well. Houston has got some Empress Gin going on. Awesome. I love Empress. Salem, Oregon just picked up some more bourbon for the weekend. Yeah, it is the weekend. Awesome. Wax Combo, Ashbury Park. And we've got the person in California waiting until after 5. That's okay. This is to supply y'all with some ideas for any time that you're ready to imbibe on some different items. Hi, Little Lane Media from Australia. And Empress is from the city of Victoria. NYC, a Oaxacan Manhattan. You guys are being so creative, bartenders at home. So since we're already ready to go, as people come in, I am going to get started with this live. As I said in my stories, we are going to be making some bubbly cocktails using kava. We've got an amazing brand that I wanted to showcase called Poema, which basically means, it does mean poem in English. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. I've tried 4 different bottles from this brand, and I'm going to tell you that they all have been fabulous, not only to drink alone, but also to put in cocktails. And with that being said, I am going to first pour myself a pre-game for this. I am going to start with their Brut. I mean, how gorgeous are the labels anyway? I've already cracked this open because I've been experimenting with some other ideas. Here we go. Don't you just love these flutes? Like, look at the champagne flute. It makes you feel like you're somewhere fancy, even though I'm just here in my kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up to the top. So as you can see, there's very delicate bubbles in this. I really like it. Wow, this is so great. Very crisp, clean, green apples, earthy. That's why it's been great to use in cocktails. I'm going to pull the first tapa out of my oven really quick. Okay. So I have some tapas coming to pair with this in just a second. But what I wanted to say is, if I have time, I'm going to be making 3 different cocktails. Hey Sailor82, I'm going to be making 3 different cocktails for y'all if I have time, because all 4 of these expressions were so amazing, it was hard to just do 2 cocktails like I usually do. And just a couple things, I am going to be using the Dolce, which is a sweeter cava. I'm going to be using the Brut, which I just poured myself a glass of. And I'm also going to be using the Brut Rosé, which is like, look how gorgeous this is. There is also a extra dry, which I tried recently as well, and it was really fabulous. And if I had time, I would be using it as well, but I'm limited a little bit on time. And what I just wanted to say, a couple things about this. If you guys don't know about cava, it's made in Spain. It's a sparkling wine. This one specifically is made outside of Barcelona. It is a smaller winery They use grapes grown from the limestone hills in Barcelona. I'm reading my notes so you guys know everything about it. And the vines that the grapes come from are a minimum of 20 years old. So they're using a very small production, and they're using the method of champagne. How they make champagne in France, they're making cava like that. And I'll put this bottle so you can see this. And also, I wanted to say that the grapes are manually harvested for this product. Now, first up, I am going to make a twist on the classic bamboo cocktail. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but when I was researching some things I wanted to do, I wanted to go with some cocktails with some Spanish ingredients because we are representing with our Spanish cava, the bamboo cocktail. So the bamboo cocktail is got sherry, blanc vermouth, which is one of my favorites. It's got 2 kinds of bitters. It's a stirred drink. And then we are actually topping it off with our dolce, sweeter version cava. Okay? So it's a very dry cocktail. And, you know, a lot of times when you see the semi-sweet or the sweet sparkling wines, you kind of feel like, oh my God, I don't want to drink that. It's going to be too sweet. But I will tell you, this is the perfect amount of sweet. I'm not even kidding. It's really perfectly balanced. The acidity in it is really balanced with that sweetness. So I was actually surprised that it has a hint of sweetness, and the sweetness was not overpowering. So with that being said, I'm going to make the first cocktail. And the reason I chose this is because with the sherry and the dry vermouth, the cocktail is pretty dry. So I just wanted to make sure that I balance it out with the Dolce Poema Cava. So let's get started. Now, I had to be very organized today since I'm doing 3 of these, and I'm going to move my camera down just a little bit so y'all can see it, and feel free to ask me any questions about the wine or about the cocktail as we go forward. Just get everything. We're going to be doing our blanc vermouth, our fino sherry. I don't know if you can see that. The 2 types of bitters are going to be our aromatic bitter. So if you want to use an Angostura, that's what many people think of, as well as an orange bitter. And then a simple syrup, just a hint of that. All right, so it's my mixing glass, and I'm going to grab my ice. Oh, great. So I did not disappear. I just had an ice malfunction. Okay, so our ice is going to go straight up in here. What about the prices of the cava? I think the price point is, I think, between $10 to $15, but I can verify that with you. Also, after this, I'm going to post all the recipes to my stories and my blog. And on the stories, I will put a swipe up where you can actually, they have a product locator where you can find where the product is near you based on zip code. So, for this specific drink, I'm going to start with our dry vermouth. I'm going to do this does not want to come off. Okay, we're going to start with the sherry. So we're going to do 1 ounce of the sherry into our mixing glass. Okay, some Spanish fino sherry is what I'm using today. Hi Portugal, how are you doing? What other questions do we have? Fino sherry, yes, sorry. This is being a bit difficult. Now we're going to put 1 ounce of our dry vermouth in here. There we go. That easy. Then I'm going to do actually a bar spoon, just a little bit of our simple syrup right in there. And then, of course, 2 dashes of our Angostura or aromatic bitters. What brand of dry vermouth do you recommend? Hi London. The price is correct depending on where you are. As far as retails, it's around $15. I use this brand, Blanc Vermouth. It's French. I also favor Dolan as well. So whichever one you have, it doesn't have to really be brand specific. Okay, now that we've got that in there, we are going to go ahead and stir this cocktail up, dilute it just a little bit before we serve it up. Okay, I'm going to try that, make sure it's all good. Oh wow, you guys wouldn't believe this. Once you start researching cocktails, you start going deep into it. I had never made a bamboo cocktail before, and I'm telling you, this is perfect topping stuff off with. And before I go there, I may already have a bottle of it opened. Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and our coupe glass here and strain our mixture right into there. So as you can see, it's a pretty one. Then again, we're going to use the Dolce. It has a little bit of tasting notes of peach and dried fruits, which go really well with the sherry and the dry vermouth. And the bitters kind of even it out too. So there we go. So Dolce Cava, Poema, top that off. And then I am just going to go ahead, which I already did in the lieu of time, just go ahead and put this up here. It's an orange peel. You can actually, you know, you could pretty much go with any citrus garnish you wanted to. I like the aromas of the orange with this cocktail since I use the orange bitters. But here we go. Here's our first cocktail. Cheers. I'm salivating. Yes, this is very good, and I'm telling you, the sweetness from the Poema Cava is really great in this. It dries this out pretty good. And again, look how gorgeous this bottle is. I mean, typically people think of some sweet sparkling as dessert wines, which this pairs really good with dessert wines, but it also pairs really good as drinking straight as an aperitif, or having it with a dessert, or having it with appetizers. So cheers to that. That's our first drink. The bubbly bamboo is what I called it. Yes, this is definitely a spring drink. So while we are thinking about the next drink really quick, I promised you guys after yesterday when I made a whole entire like sheet pan of nachos, I was going to do some tapas to go with the Spanish theme here and to really give us a snack, because you know, in Spain, after I visited and while I was visiting, I learned that, you know, they serve tapas with drinks over there. When you buy a drink, you get a tapa. So since we've made a drink, we are going to get a tapa, a snack, a traditional Spanish snack. So I've done two. The first one is a tapenade, because last week when I was working with the Prosecco and I did a little aperitivo hour, some people were asking about tapenade. So I decided to make it. Again, I am not a chef. I am making my version. I'm not making the classic version with Kalamata olives because I didn't have them. I take kind of the method of how I make cocktails, where I took this bamboo cocktail and did a twist by putting the cava. I kind of use that same logic with cooking. I like the classic tapenade, but I think it's also great to experiment and also make it with what you have. So, with that being said, I prepared a lot of stuff ahead of time for this one because you guys probably didn't come here to see me chop olives for the whole segment. So, this is going to be super easy. I made this in about 5 minutes. So what I wanted to say here is I chopped up some green and black olives, okay? And I will say that a lot of recipes for tapenade use the food processor. I do not have a food processor. And I will tell you all one thing that I learned in Argentina was from a chef, that if you chop everything up like this, people can taste the love that you put into making it homemade and putting that kind of physical labor into it. People can really taste the love. So I'm going to go with that. Then, in this little bowl, because I wanted to add some spice to it, I had some leftover jalapenos from the nachos I made yesterday. I put 2 cloves of garlic in here, and also I put in some lemon zest to give it that freshness. So that's going to go right in here. And then I am going to put in some lemon juice for acidity. Oh, I'm glad you all like this. Just half of a lemon is fine. Let's go ahead and squeeze that right in. Gonna add some olive oil. Just coat that so it's easy to stir, as y'all can see that. And then just a little bit of salt and pepper. So here we go with that. Pepper and salt. And then just mix it up. I mean, you can use this for a lot of different things. You can use it to put on salads. You can use it as appetizers. I like it as a snack. I put it on bread toast, toasted like baguettes, which I'll show you right now. Okay, let me get this going. So I just took a baguette and I put it in the oven with some olive oil to make these little crispy baguettes. So this is perfect for an appetizer. You can just put this on these crackers or pieces of bread. May I say they're almost like crackers now. This is almost just like a relish. And you saw how easy that was, even if you have to chop up the olives. Like, obviously, if you have a food processor, it's going to be easier. So that's our first little tapa here. Some mixed olive topping on. So that's going to go with our cocktail there. And if you all want the recipe for that, you can DM me. I think that when you're drinking, you should always be eating. So that's why I'm preparing these sips and snacks for you. Cheers with that. If y'all are just joining us, we are here with Poema Cava from Spain, and I'm making some cocktails. I just made a bubbly bamboo cocktail with the Dolce Cava, which is this one. And now I am going to make a Cava Spritz. Now I'm telling you, here in Seattle, we've gone about 20 degrees warmer. About 65 and sunny, so it's definitely spritz weather, even if you have to go on your porch or balcony or just sit inside. I love sipping on spritz. They're just so refreshing, and this Cava Spritz is really great. So here is our wine goblet, and I'm going to shake up a couple of things here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using our sherry again, because we want to get the Spanish vibes. There's a question here. Do you have a YouTube channel, and what is your name? My name is Natalie. Yes, it's Beautiful Booze. I'm also on YouTube as Beautiful Booze. So to get started with this, I am going to do 1 ounce of sherry again into the shaker. Okay. Then I am going to do a half of a lemon. So it should be about a half an ounce. Usually it depends on how juicy your lemon is. So we'll see if this one comes out to about half an ounce. And it's pretty easy to measure. I'm getting that thing where I have too many cocktails in front of me, so I'm going to pull this back so you all can still see this. Okay, so I'm going to do a half an ounce. These lemons are super tough that I just recently got. Oop, okay, there we go. No problem. Then half an ounce of this. And then I am going to do a half an ounce of our simple syrup again. right into the shaker. Now we're going to shake this up. You get my other ice for the shaker. Here we go. Shake it up. Now I really wanted the sherry and the citrus and the lemon juice to really marry together and dilute just a little bit for our spritz. That's why I did it in the shaker. I mean, if you didn't want to bother with that, you could just make it in here and stir. I just like it to really blend together. That's why I use the shaker. But for the ease, for everybody, you can also do that. So we're going to strain that lemon, sugar, and sherry right up here into our wine goblet. Next, I'm going to put some ice in here. Okay. Got some big cubes so it will melt slowly. And for this particular spritz, I am going to use the Brut because I really like it. I mean, again, I explained this last week with the Prosecco, but you really want to use really good sparkling wines, even in cocktails. So you want to really choose ones that you like sipping on, like this one. You want to use really good sparkling wines also in your cocktail application. No, I'm not saying use a $400 champagne. I'm saying these are very well priced to just sip on or enjoy in a cocktail. So let's find our Brut, which is here. It's a black label. Again, it's called Poema Cava from Spain. They make this the traditional way that they make champagne near Barcelona in the limestone hills. So we're going to go ahead and top this off with our Brut. Look how bubbly this is. There we go. And since that we're topping this off so the flavors will marry, I always like to give this a stir, just a gentle stir to kind of combine that. And then for this one, I like garnishing it like spritzy style. Put some lemon slices in there. It feels very spring or summery. And then garnish it off with a half lemon here, if that makes sense. There we go. You guys can see this is a little overexposed, but it's a really great citrus spritz with sherry. I call it the Cava spritz. We use the Brut. Smells really great. Oh my gosh. The citrus and the simple syrup and the sherry really combine well. And then the earthiness and the grassiness and the really clean flavors of the Brut make this a really great Cava for spritz. So, you know, you can figure out what combo you wanted. I like the citrus hints in the Brut, so that's why I chose lemon. But you can make like a raspberry, a blueberry, a berry spritz. You could do blood orange. You could do whatever you have at home. You could make into a spritz with this. Instead of sherry, sometimes I do use vermouth, so that's also a great thing to put into a spritz as well. Thanks. Cheers, you guys. Okay, so what's your favorite sparkling wine? Well, I do go through phases. I really love bubbles, so a lot of times for aperitif hour, or like if I go into a bar and I don't want to start off with like a really heavy cocktail, I love just a straight glass of bubbles. And I'm telling you, the more and more I explore, I am loving how good this Cava is right now. So I think it just depends on what you have access to, what you like drinking, what flavors you like. But I really love that these bubbles are super delicate. I don't know if you can see that. They're really delicate, so this is pretty easy to drink. And by that I mean it doesn't feel heavy. The bubbles aren't super large. I really like how delicate they are. Loving these so far. Great. I am glad that y'all like this. Okay, we are good on time. So the last cocktail I'm going to make for y'all is also a twist on a classic. I am going to be using the Poema Rosé Brut or Brut Rosé. Look how gorgeous this bottle is. I mean, this is a great bottle to take to a dinner party, to take to any kind of party. Right now, I think sparkling, bubbly rosé is the way to go, especially with the weather. So this particular cava has some notes of rose and strawberries, and I just thought a minty cocktail would go really well with those tasting notes and those flavors. So we are making a bubbly Southside cocktail. Now the Southside cocktail, if y'all don't know about it, it's a classic cocktail. It is made with gin and it's made with mint. Okay? Laura, I don't know if you can find it in Waynesville, but you know what? I can give you a link to the product finder and it will tell you where you can get it. Miss you, Tara. Hey, Thirsty. It will definitely tell you where you can get it. I looked here in Seattle and it's definitely in a store that we have called QFC, but yeah. So with that being said, the South Side again has mint and gin and lime juice. So I just thought with the mint flavors of the South Side, we could dial back the gin a little bit and top that South Side off with some of these rosé vibes with the strawberry notes and the rose notes that really marry well with mint. I think about summer, I think about mint and strawberry, and I love those flavor combos. So again, here is the label, and you know, I'd already opened the Dolce and the Brut previously because I was getting my tasting notes and doing a little tasting before this myself, but I haven't opened a bottle. So here we go. Let's get onto this. There's nothing better. Like, I'm always like in a bar or a restaurant and you immediately hear people that are drinking bubbles. You hear that pop and then I'm like, oh, I want some. Okay, here we go. I watched a photo back of me when I did this last week on the Prosecco and I like had my eyes closed. So here we go. Ah! Okay, there we go. So here, the weekend is officially here with the pop of that top. So let me grab the stuff to make that. So we're going to be using this Nick and Nora glass, which I'm obsessed with at the moment. And our gin, and then I just need to quickly rinse out my shaker really fast since I just used that. Okay, so for this, whoops, tearing it up in the kitchen. So for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and put a ½ ounce of our simple syrup right into the shaker. Now I'm going to move this up so y'all can see it again. Now, with that being said, I am going to take about 6 mint leaves and put them right into the shaker. So good. One, you know, you can just kind of estimate. I wanted to count it out, but that seems like very intense for a Friday. Okay, so we're going to put our fresh mint in there. And to really infuse that syrup, we are going to use a muddler. So what a muddler does is it's, you just do press down and twist, press down and twist, and that kind of breaks up the essence into your mint and, into your simple syrup, and it infuses those mint flavors into your simple syrup. So now we've got that muddled and our mint in there. So now we're going to go ahead and add our lime juice. We're going to do a ½ ounce again. I used to be intimidated to try to measure out the citrus, but it's pretty easy to squeeze into these jiggers. I'm not going to say it's not messy, but it's pretty easy. So our lime juice goes in. And then the original recipe for a Southside calls for 2 ounces of gin. Since we're topping this off with bubbles, the Poema Brut Rosé, it's going to be boozy anyway, so I've dialed back the gin to just 1 ounce instead of 2 ounces. 2 ounces. That's going to go in there. So next, we're just going to add some ice and shake up this cocktail. We'll go into that glass. Okay, here we go. Happy weekend! As you can tell, I'm excited it's a weekend. Okay, so with this, we are going to need to double strain this drink because we did muddle the flavors of the mint down, kind of broke up that mint, and then when we shook the cocktail, we infused the cocktail with that mint, and it's actually chunks of mint in there. So you want to make sure that you double strain so that this strainer will strain out those chunks of mint and you're not drinking them and you have them like in your teeth or whatever. So here we go with that. So that is our base drink there. And now, to finish that off, we're going to top this classic Southside with some of the Poema Brut Rosé. Here we go. Topping that off. Look at those stunning bubbles. I think that this Brut Rosé is going to pair so well with the gin and the mint. Okay, there we go. And then I just decided, since I already had the fresh mint, that I was going to garnish this off with a cute little fresh mint leaf. But again, we did use lime. You could garnish it with lime, or, you know, if you don't want to garnish, you don't have to. The choice is yours. So here we go. Here is that cocktail. Gonna go, one more thing, I'm gonna stir that really quick, just so those flavors marry together before I taste it. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys. The mint and the rosé work so well together. The gin is great in this. This is definitely a very fun cocktail. It's kind of in between the 2 cocktails that I made. This is more of like a refreshing long drink. You can sit outside, sip on this. Is our Cava Spritz with some lemon and sherry. And then our more stirred drink is this Bubbly Bamboo, which has vermouth and cherry and bitters. Oh my gosh. And the Dolce Cava. And then this one's kind of in between. You know, we shook the drink. It does have some gin in it, and then it is topped off with the Poema Rosé. So good. I mean, I would love for you guys to comment below and tell me which one you think would be your favorite drink. The Bubbly Bamboo with our sherry and our vermouth and our bitters, the Bubbly Southside, which has our mint and gin, or our Cava Spritz with our sherry and our lemon. Which one would y'all vote for? I'm just interested to take a poll. I mean, I think my favorite of all 3 is the Bubbly Southside. I love the gin. I love the mint. The rosé is just perfect in this. But it's hard just to pick just one. And I said this previously, but what I really wanted to say about the Cava in general is that, you know, some people love cocktails, some people don't. I like cocktails. I love everything Southside. But I'm telling you, if you got a bottle, that's why I love this Cava. If you get a bottle, you know, you can make a cocktail and then you can just drink it. It's so good. So you don't have to worry about buying a whole bottle just to use a little bit for a cocktail, because you can just drink it and not worry about the cocktail. So I'm interested to see what's happening here. Okay, so the pink, oops, I have so many bottles here. The pink cava, the cave spritz my mom wants. There you go, Kathy. Gin and mint, Southside bamboo because of the vermouth and bitters. Bamboo, the mint and rosé from Poema cava. People are thirsty now. Awesome. Well, it seems like that the south side is winning, but I'm telling you, all three of them are good. And just so y'all know, you will be able to find these a little bit after this. Give me about 15-20 minutes. They will be on my stories, the recipes. You can screenshot those. You can also go to my blog and get the recipes. They are there as well. And when I post this stuff, I will also post the product finder so you can type in your zip code and find where you can get these lovely Poema bottles. This is cava from Spain, Poema. And let's see, I have a little bit more time, so for people that want to see the last tapa, I want to show it to you because it's this simple. It's very simple. Okay, so our last little snack that I wanted to show y'all is a very classic tapa from Spain. I enjoyed it when I visited Spain myself. It's called pan con tomate, and it's essentially a tomato bread. So what you do is you bake up some toast, some bread, whatever you have. You take some garlic cloves, cut them in half, and what you want to do with the garlic clove is rub the straight garlic onto the toast, just like that. I'm going to do 2 of these to show you. There we go. Now you have to understand that the garlic is very strong, raw. It's very spicy, so you might want to go not so heavy. Then you're going to take one of your tomatoes. You're going to cut off the bottom of the tomato. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to rub that tomato juiciness all over the bread. And that's what you do. That is pan con tomato. It's that easy. I know it seems very strange, but it is so delicious, y'all. So then after you have that, what I like to do is get some salt going on there. Some pepper going on there, and then of course a drizzle of olive oil. And that is the easiest appetizer you will ever make, and it goes really good with the cava. So if you can see this here in my hand, pan con tomato, and it's really great in the summer when there's really fresh tomatoes. It's a great way to use up those tomatoes. Have an appetizer. I've also seen people add Spanish cheese to the top, which I would highly recommend. Yes, it's like a Spanish bruschetta. Yeah, pan con tomato. So pan is what bread is called in Spanish. Con is with, so bread with tomatoes. Yeah, so that's our final little snack. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on this lovely Friday for my virtual happy hour. They're running every Tuesday to Saturday, so I will be here tomorrow with some really super fun cocktails. Stay tuned to my stories because I'm going to give you a little teaser. But I just, again, wanted to thank Poema Cava from Spain for sponsoring this session, letting me be creative with their cava and coming up with some really fun cocktails. So thank you guys for coming along this journey, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Happy weekend. Bye. Thank you guys.